So I've drawn a very simple food web here that will allow me to illustrate the different levels of trophic levels and consumers and things like that. So food chains, you guys usually don't have problems with. Just remember that the arrow, when it's pointing to something, it basically means is eaten by. So grass is eaten by grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are eaten by scorpions, etc. All right. Now, so there's always going to be a bottom of the pyramid, a base of the pyramid, and this is called the producer. And this is technically considered the first trophic level. Producer, sorry, R. Right? Then you have primary consumers, and primary consumers eat the producer directly. Okay, so for example, here the squirrel is a primary consumer. All right, and then the squirrel is eaten by the eagle, so the eagle would be a secondary consumer, as would the scorpion. Right, this one's also a secondary consumer. Now, what about the fox? Because the fox eats a scorpion, which is a secondary, that would make it a tertiary. Okay, usually we don't call those, but anyway, it would be a tertiary consumer, but it also eats a squirrel. So what is it? It's actually both. It is a secondary and a tertiary consumer. All right, so the idea is that producer is always the first. This is basically something autotrophic. So either it's going to be in on land, in land ecosystems, it's usually some sort of plant. In the ocean, it may be plankton or some sort of algae. All right, but the idea is that then you have primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then if there's anything on top of that, you have tertiary, and then you could even get a quaternary consumer if, for example, the fox was, I don't know, eaten by a mountain lion or something. So, and then the trophic levels would be, let me put that in a different color. The trophic levels are basically so the grass is the producer, so this is the first trophic level, then the squirrel would be the second trophic level, the scorpion would be the third, as would the eagle, and then this would again be the third and the fourth trophic levels. All right. And so you may want to make sure that you know, and the other thing is primary consumers are called herbivores. Anything that eats meats is called carnivore. You guys mostly know that. I'm not too concerned about that part. But it is important that you know these. All right, so producer, primary consumer, secondary, and tertiary. Oh, I didn't write that down. Wrong color, sorry. So the fox would be considered a tertiary. Now, the one thing to know about this is one of the things they like to ask, this is a food web because it's not a simple chain. All right, so one of the things they like to ask is how many food chains are contained within a food web. So that's easy. The idea is that you start at the producer, and if you have multiple producers, you need to start at each one, and you count how many ways are there to get to each of the top consumers. All right, the consumers that aren't being eaten by anything else. So for here, for example, you go grass, grasshopper, scorpion, fox. But you could also go grass, squirrel, fox. So that's 2 food chains. And then the third food chain would be grass, squirrel, eagle. So there are 3 food chains contained within this food web. All right.